Well, thanks for having me over to your place here, Bob. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Beautiful farm life. Got the dogs come running out after me when we...
Well, they're attack dogs. A good judge of character.
Yeah, they came around the back too. I come in the front door. They come.
I try and let them out the back and then I get to you before they get to you. Didn't work though.
Nice. So you're just showing me your Hamiltonian trophy. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, just came in.
Yeah, you're gonna need a trophy room pretty soon. The rate you're going.
Oh yeah, Jody just keeps downgrading some of them and putting them in storage. But I don't think that one's gonna move for a little while.
That one's got the prime spot.
Yeah.
Nice. Get some. You're a golfer.
Oh yeah, big time golfer.
Men's longest drive 2019.
Oh, I stole that off my friend Mark McCormick.
Okay, you didn't win that one.
No.
Nice. What do you shoot?
Oh, 90. 90s.
Yeah.
I'll take 90. It doesn't always work out that way, but I'll take it when it comes.
Yeah, I think we'd be a good game then. I'm getting worse every year going downhill.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it's been a big year for you.
Yeah, it has. Ups and downs, but the highlight was really high and the lows were really low. So that's what makes it so fun.
So what was it? Pelvis. What was
the
injury?
Broken
was that back
pelvis. That was
May?
in April.
April. Okay.
April, and I got back in May.
What? I vaguely remember it. What? Was it at Mohawk?
Yeah, I was at a qualifier and a horse in front of me. He made a bad step and there was just no avoiding it, and seems like the backside at Mohawk is a bad spot, and nobody's really expecting much to go wrong, and anyway, it was just the way I landed where
went down the wrong way.
Yeah, knew something was wrong right away, but didn't know how severe it was until obviously 5 or 6 hours later. But
was that the same one? Was that with Anthony was involved in that?
Yeah, Anthony was a lot worse than I was. He was fun to watch in the hospital though. I don't know what they had him on, but it was pretty entertaining. And Phil Houdon too, he got hurt in it as well. Yeah.
And Anthony's pretty entertaining on a normal day, so I can imagine him.
You should see him when he's loaded up on painkillers. He was really buzzing.
Nice.
I believe he asked one doctor for a vasectomy since he was there.
Yeah, he might as well.
And then protested when the doctor said that's not his line of work. But.
All right, nice. So he's back. Phil's back. You're back. How long did it take you? The pelvis.
Oh, I took four or 5 weeks. But I probably should have taken 7 or 8.
Yeah, a little sore getting back.
Yeah, not the pelvis as much as I had ripped a big muscle down my back, and it made walking really hard. But it obviously I had to walk with a cane for quite a while.
Yeah. And
but it seems good now, about 80%. So take a month off this winter and let it finish healing.
Go somewhere warm.
Probably, yeah.
You'll end up in Florida and picking up a few drives while you're down there.
No, I go to Florida every year, and I have a friend that says, "Oh, well, bring your suit," and I said, "No, I'm not coming down there to work. I'm going to come down here and enjoy myself."
Nice. Well, that's got to be a good spot to be in your career now, where you can get away for a month, because kind of in the early years, I think that's probably something you can't afford to do.
Yeah, when I was at the B tracks, there was no traveling. You also didn't have the luxury of the break, the winter break and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cushy life at Mohawk. There's drivers in the States might make more money than us, but they do twice the work we do. We traveling. In the winter time we race 4 days a week, good horses, good money. It's a pretty easy lifestyle. We're kind of spoiled. And in the summer we really don't have to travel that much. You can go to the grassroots if you want and travel, but for the most part we can stay put. Those other drivers are doing 2 tracks a day. Tim Tetrick and them, they do 2 tracks a day.
Aaron Merriman's all over the place.
Yeah, 15 race cards, they work really hard. Then when stake season comes up, they're not, going half an hour to Grand River. They're going 4 hours to Pocono, and then 8 hours to New York. It's a lot more traveling.
It seems like at least the OSS Gold now is all pretty much for the most part it's Mohawk, and then go to Grand River, Flamborough, right?
Yeah, we're pretty spoiled that way. So, don't take it for granted.
Yeah, you can move in, find a nice spot right by the track.
Yeah, well, that's it. Most of the drivers live within half an hour of the racetrack.
Yeah.
I talk to Dan Dubé, 3-4 times a week, and usually it's when he's stuck on that George Washington Bridge, Yeah. He lives 40 minutes from the track. It takes him 2 hours. And
torture.
My drive's 25 minutes down a country road.
Yeah. Don't get a little bit of traffic on the 401 here when you have to go somewhere, but
there aren't many places I touch the 401. But
I don't imagine the dirt roads near your place here get too much traffic on them.
No, maybe a tractor once in a while.
How's your family handled when you went down there? Is that I remember back multiple times when my dad was driving. I remember one time specifically I was at the cottage and he went down to Georgian Downs, and it was like I'd made it from Huntsville to Georgian Downs in like no time.
Yeah.
It was just kind of always that back of my mind. They're pretty calm handling it, or nervous watching it?
Well, Ryder obviously didn't understand. My mom hasn't watched a horse race since. Sure. That's not a joke.
Wow.
Live anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Jody was okay. She I called her. I was still laying on the track to tell her I was okay, because I didn't want her to get a text from somebody saying, "Oh my God, Bob went down," and then she doesn't know what's going on. But she was a trooper about it. She stole me a wheelchair from the hospital.
Nice.
So
there you go.
Because we ended up wheeling all the way out to the far side of the car, and she looked and she's like, she'd had a long day. She said, "We're gonna need this to get in the house." I'm like, "Oh, you do you." She's like, "I'll bring it back." So okay.
Nice. So that was the low point to start the year, and then it's been uphill since then.
Determination's a big part of my year. I was lucky enough to be back just in time to pick up Best in Show, and he was a big part of my year. I know we only win one race together, but my first North American Cup. I traveled a little bit for him, and he ended up winning the Meadowlands Pace, which
nice.
Was another low. I was sitting on the runway, and they canceled the plane. But truth be told, the way that trip worked out, I don't think I would have won the Meadowlands Pace with him. I think Brian Sears won that. So,
just think the trip you would have done something different, or
just how cool he is about everything. He was sitting fourth and committed to the rail.
Mm-hmm.
My first North American or Meadowlands Pace, I definitely would have been out 4 wide.
Yeah.
And I probably would have been fourth beat ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
no,
take that off. And
you've been getting those 1877. I get all the fake
I don't know what it is.
It's the Canadian Revenue Agency. Oh. You're gonna get arrested tomorrow. They've been phoning like crazy.
I don't know what that one is. Yeah. I'll find out after. If it's important to leave a message.
Yeah.
But and then obviously the high was the Hambletonian. That was a day I'll never forget.
So rewind a little bit here first too. I don't know the details. All I know is that it seems like you have approached catch driving a little differently in the way that you have with determination, right? Like you sort of have a pretty good base there that you stem from, but I don't know the background of it. Like, how did you hook up with them? How did you get hooked up to lose play?
Well, I moved to Woodbine in November of 2017.
Yeah.
And I'd driven once or twice for Luke. I think he'd listed me about 8 times, and I never could take them. But he was always nice, and we got along good. But when I got a call in January 2018, and obviously it was Serge Godin, and he offered me the opportunity to drive the whole stable. And there was no commitments in the US or anything. I just drove the horses here.
Yeah.
And I said the opportunity to drive a bunch of, at the time there was Emoticon, Dream Together, War We Rue. Those came to mind, and then that year he ended up having a bunch of 2 come and 3s that had no money made, ended up being nice horses. So I think we won like 6 or 7 of our first together, and it just, everything went really good the first year.
Yeah.
Luke had a career year. Everybody was just thrilled with the way last year went. Forbidden Trade was O'Brien Award 2-year-old. Moticon won the aged mare. And I mean, this year, I don't want to sound negative because, you know, we won the Hamiltonian Forbidden Trade. Likely, I would say, going to win the O'Brien again. Had a great year, but he really carried it because the rest of it was, I'd say, a little disappointing. Emoticon at the start of the year was really good. At the end of the year was obviously the other night. She was unbelievable, and she's always unbelievable. But there's a bunch of other ones that kind of disappointed us a little bit, which is unfortunate. But you know, going forward, they still have a whole stable full of very nice horses.
Just kind of fascinating to see because the way what I'm used to seeing is the sort of these short-term relationships between stables and drivers and come and go, and you know, it could be one bad drive could be your last, and so it's kind of cool to see a bit of something a little more lasting, and
that was
a partnership there.
That was something that I really liked, was the ability to drive them the way I saw fit without worrying about whether I drive them again next week.
Does that do something for you as a driver as far as like going to the gate?
Definitely.
Not worrying about your job?
Definitely. And the amount of confidence that Serge has in me, like, and you know, he's always okay if, you know, the horse is mildly underdriven, you know, not that you're not trying to win, but maybe you take some time to educate them, you know, and he's on board for that, and which you have to respect because he's spending millions of dollars. You know, it'd be just as easy for him to say, no, I want to win, you know, but, you know, and obviously we try to win every race, but we at the same time try and take care of his very expensive product the best we can.
Yeah, you want to win next week too, right?
Exactly. And Luke's always been good about that, and I think Emoticon is you know, shows just how good Luke is at getting a horse through a whole season. You know, she's always there for the Breeders' Crown, always there for the TVG. You know, I think it speaks volumes on him.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you're going to the gate, I was talking about how that might help calm your nerves or whatever. Do you get nervous when you're racing?
No. I mean, during the day, yeah.
How about like a Hamiltonian level race? Are you getting nervous?
No, in the Hambletonian, I think I probably would have. If I was driving a horse like Green Chew, I would have been very nervous. But Forbidden Trade is just too nice and too easy to drive to be nervous about. He, whatever you want to do, he just does it, you know. And I've told a lot of people he calmed me down, you know. Like we went out for the post parade for the final, and I turned him, scored him pretty good, and then walked him. And I didn't realize it was going to be a 15-minute post parade. You know, I knew it'd be long, but he kind of went to sleep on me. I had to score him again just to wake him up. So, you know, he made it a lot easier. He was just being such a nice horse. And you know, the other big races I was in were Dream Together and, you know, Emoticon, and then same thing. They're just push button. You know, and they're great horses. So nothing really to be nervous about. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen, you know. Where I'd say driving a horse like Green Chew, you're like, I don't know what he's going to do, you know. You know, that could bring on some nerves, but luckily we don't have any of them.
How do you approach a race like that? Like, do you have a pretty good idea in most cases of what you're going to do coming out of the gate, or is a lot of times it's when the wings fold, see what happens?
Usually I try to have a plan A, and then, you know, probably fall on a plan B, and then 90% of the time we end up on plan C. So
somewhere along the line.
You know, obviously some horses like to get spotted off the gate. In the elimination of the Hambletonian, I either want to be on front or in the 2-hole. I didn't want to leave anything to chance. And in the final, I was just looking for Green Chew because I figured I'd drop in front of him. And from there, you just kind of go on instinct, you know. You leave the gate, get positioned, and then you can make your decisions from there. And I think the the good drivers can, adapt to the situation as it goes, and great drivers, they you never see them get in a bad spot. So
is that a big difference when you go down to the States? In Mohawk, you're driving, it's mainly the same people every night, so you must know all their tendencies, right, and what they're likely to do or not do. And then you go down to a race like that, and like you said, great drivers here, great drivers there, but different. I mean, guys you don't drive against every day.
Yeah, so I guess there's differences, but they are very good drivers here, and very underrated drivers here. And I'm not going to point anything out, but if you go to a lot of the tracks in the U.S., like, not that they're not very competent, capable drivers, but I drive against a lot of drivers that have multiple Breeders' Crowns. Like the career that Jody Jameson's had is unbelievable. I mean, what hasn't he won, really? Same with Mark McDonald, Scott Zeron, but then you look, Chris Christopher, Randy Waples, Paul McInerney, Mike Safdie, Sylvain Filion, all won Breeders' Crowns. Doug McNair, I'd say from Doug McNair, James McDonald, and them, they could drive anywhere they wanted. Anywhere they wanted to go, they'd be successful. Sylvain, one of the best drivers there's ever been, probably. I mean, I think he's got 8,000 wins or something.
What's really cool to me is seeing that there's sort of that older generation, not that they're old, but then there's this group of young guys, and it's nice to see that battle forming, and then with you, Doug,
it is. And it's
James
fun. It's fun, but it's competitive too, and there's drivers there that maybe haven't had the stake success. I mean, that that where their career should be at, given their abilities. I mean, Trevor Henry's probably one of the top drivers in North America. If he went to a track like Philadelphia or Yonkers or something, I think a lot of them wouldn't know which way he's going. Like, he's so good on a half, but he's equally good on a big track. But and I think it's kind of sad that the career he's had and the success he's had, that he's never had an O'Brien Award nomination or anything. I know one year there, I think he was the driver on 7 O'Brien Award nominees.
Wow.
Didn't get one himself, but but he's as good as anybody.
I've always wondered what it's like at the in that driver's colony. Like, what's it like in the driver's room? Are people? I know I've gone golfing with a bunch of these guys and they golf together. But is everybody pretty friendly, or is there some pretty good rivalries going on too?
It depends. It depends on the day. It can get very uncomfortable, and then sometimes you just sit in there and you laugh until your ribs hurt. I mean, right now it's uncomfortable because Scott Young's coming in bullying everybody, but everybody's getting fed up.
I haven't been watching close enough to keep tabs on. I know I watched the other night, and I think it was James got parked three wide to the half. I think it was Jody 2 wide,
and George Ketros. See, that's funny because Jody comes in, says, well, what was George Ketros doing, blah blah blah, and James looks at him and goes, you're 53-1, what were you doing?
I was wondering, I wish somebody would have had a camera in the paddock at that time.
Oh, I wish so too, and then but I mean, you're gonna have fights and feuds and stuff like that, but to say there's anybody in that room that you don't like or you wish ill upon, no, not at all.
It's kind of similar to the hockey culture in Canada, right? Is you can get in a fist fight on the ice, and then you can have a beer with the guy after. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's horse racing. Things don't go according to plan very often. And you can be sour about it after, but you're gonna have to work with them again tomorrow, and eventually you're gonna be in their way. So I think for the most part, everybody's up there. It's pretty easy to get along with, and a lot of big personalities. So it gets kind of fun sometimes. It kind of takes that to be a driver. I've always kind of noted that there's 2 different skills. You need to actually be able to drive a horse, and then you need to be a bit of a politician to get drives and to have that personality which makes owners and trainers want to work with you.
Absolutely. And some people have that and some people don't. Some people just, I've never been a very good politician. I've never been very good at talking and promoting myself. I kind of just drive the horses, I just drive it. And that's something I love about Trevor Henry, He would never ask for drives, never look for drives. He just shows up, does his work, does it to the best of his ability, and goes from there. But then you see other people, Jody Jamieson, there's nothing to him to saying, I'm down on these two, but I want to drive this one over here.
Yeah.
And call the race office, get a number, call them, and and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not the way I do it, but there's nothing wrong with him doing that. He's why wouldn't he want to drive a better horse? And for those people, maybe they'd say, "Oh, I wish we could get Jody, but he's already on these two." Well, give him a call.
Yeah, it's just an interesting setup, the way the sport works, right? And the way that you get listed, and then there's the changes process.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered how, take Yannick Gingras, for example, and the barns that he drives for. How do you go years without seriously offending somebody?
Yeah.
Because eventually two top-level horses are going to get in the same race, and you're going to have to make
a tough
call.
You had that in the Hambletonian, right? You had Pinkman and Mission Brief. It was Jimmy Tactor and Ron Burke. I don't envy him for that situation, but it's a damn nice problem to have.
Yeah, it's a good problem, that's for sure.
But I think Yannick's a very good politician. He's very good at promoting himself, very big on believing in himself, and obviously that translates into the racetrack. But when you have those stables behind you, it's a snowball of success. And you look at Doug Brown for so long. When you have that much power behind you, it's you're in a position to do good. So.
Yeah, and when it combines with top-level talent, that's when you're really going to succeed. But it's kind of always been odd to me that it's really the only sport where the athletes don't have agents. Because typically, the agent would deal with that, right? And the agent would tell you who you're driving, and you would just be able to focus on, I'm going to drive horses the best I can, and not going to worry about that. So it's just kind of a weird spot that you have to do that as part of your job.
For sure. I thought that too for a while. It was, thoroughbred jockeys have agents and stuff,
Yeah.
I obviously we're not high profile enough for that, but it would be interesting.
Well, it creates these situations, right? Because you drove my horse twice this summer. I think she only raced twice, and you qualified her a bunch of times.
No, I drove her more than that.
Well, you qualified her 3 times.
I think 3 or 4 times I raced her though.
We raced at Mohawk.
Yeah.
So for her first start of her career, worked out an absolute perfect trip. She's coming out of the 8-hole, and you leave.
Yeah.
And then you move to the front. It takes about 3 steps to get around to the lead, and then she's coming around, turning for home, and Jody comes flying with the favorite.
Yeah.
And she just kind of freaked her out.
She gave me 2 ulcers. So there was it was unfortunate given her. It's just the way this business is she had all the potential to be the best gold filly, and if she had been able to go 10 more feet of turn, she had 2 gold wins. Instead she had 0 gold money. That first start, if she could have just got out of that turn, she was gone. Grand River, if she had just got out of that turn, would they go 2-4? She's a 55 trotter.
Yeah, we were at least second to gold.
We were a winner. It was not crazy. Even questionable. But and then you look at the other filly. What was her name?
Nikita.
The EL Titan.
Peel Nikita.
Well, she really wasn't gold level and won a gold. But good for her. I told
all our owners is we were training down with that filly all year, and that filly couldn't go with ours.
She can't. Not even close.
So that's horse racing.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it favors you, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. So that's sort of why I've grown to. I didn't even know you really going into. I think I probably first shook your hand in the last year. I don't know, but I really appreciated that can go sour so quickly when something happens to the horse and there's nothing to do with either the owner, the trainer, or the driver. It's very easy for the relationships just to blow up.
Sure.
Right? The driver's frustrated, the trainer's frustrated, obviously the owner's frustrated, and it can go sour. And then there's always that awkward dynamic where you get to know somebody and you have this working relationship, and then I know with our filly, for example, if there's a determination filly in that race, you can't take my filly, and it's all right, no problem. But then at the same time, I'm going to have to be a little awkward where it's if somebody else goes out and wins with my filly,
Yeah.
what am I going to do, right? Because
Yeah.
now I'm thinking, all right.
Well, it's bad karma to take a driver off after a win. That's what I always say.
Yeah. So it's sort of set up in a way where it creates this tension and, you know.
It is, and that causes for some lows. But, no, I mean, I've said to people before that if the lows of this game weren't so low, the highs wouldn't be as high as they are.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you had a really bad year with your filly. You go out next year, you win a couple of olds, maybe, you know, you have a really good year. Well, it's going to be that much sweeter.
Yeah.
You know, and if nobody really ever got down, things didn't always blow up, you know, well then those 1 out of every 10 times that you do win wouldn't be so sweet.
Yeah, it's all the anticipation, all the build up, all that.
Exactly.
All that frustration when you finally do win.
When all your hard work and patience comes together.
That's the really cool thing too, is that everybody can share in that, from the owner to the driver to the trainer. Everybody has that same feeling.
Yeah.
It's no different for the owner. They sat there and watched themselves lose.
Yeah. Well, they probably lost financially too.
Yeah.
You know, it's trainers and drivers. They're usually not financially invested like the owners are. You know, they're trying to get back even. You know, at best.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I mean, if you know, it didn't cost me anything to race your filly, but you know, it costed you. I know.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, I mean, it's your livelihood though, right? Every time you go out and a horse makes a break, it's a chance at earning a check that you didn't get.
Exactly.
So we got a pretty good setup right now with Woodbine, and you know, pretty good gig with racing 4 days a week and all that. Now the sport as a whole, I've always, you know, I grew up on the farm that Cam Feller raced out of, and see his videos and the grandstands packed and everything, looking back on those days and looking at it today. What do you think of where we're at as a whole, not just Ontario, but the sport, and what sort of things do you think?
Well, I don't like it at all. I think we've fallen way behind the times, and I don't mean, you know, like 10 years behind. I think we're about 2 generations behind, and it's pretty sad, I think, because if I go over to the TV and want to watch anything, TSN, Sportsnet, or ESPN, there's going to be something like darts or pool or bowling, and I do not understand how they can get a stadium full of people to watch bowling, but we can't fill a grandstand to watch this. I mean, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I think our product is entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think you necessarily have to be a big bettor to be entertained by it. And numerous times I've brought friends out to the races, and they all say the same thing. You know, 3 races in, they're like, oh, well, we're gonna get going. You know, they're bored after an hour. They love watching the races.
Yeah.
They love betting their $10 or whatever. They love having dinner, but 20 minutes or more between races of just dead air. And I know some announcers talk, and Chad Roseman, they do a really great job filling the space and educating people and providing insight. But we need to do something. We need to make this more entertaining, you know, and I think take a really aggressive approach and change a lot. You know, the horsemen seem stuck on everything. They don't want to change, and I think we need a big change. But I don't know who's going to spearhead it. You know, I thought you would be really good for that, to bring people in and make it more entertaining. Like, I had somebody say an idea there, why don't they, and this is, I'm not saying it's going to work or wouldn't work, but it's an interesting idea, it's out of the box. Make it like hockey, and make it like periods, you know, run 3 races, you know, bang, 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 and then take maybe a half hour, 40 break. Yeah. Then run 3 races, bang, 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 and then, you know, have a break, and then, you know, and then maybe gather everything, and but it just might be a different, you know, more entertaining. I find it very, very troubling that on a beautiful Friday night at Mohawk, you know, there's nobody there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't even that long ago. I remember watching my dad at Georgian Downs, and on a Saturday at Georgian, it would be packed, and I mean, he'd go through 6 whips and goggles every night because he's giving them out to kids after the races, and I mean, now I've been back to a few tracks that It's just not there, and it's even in the last 10 years. I know it's been going on longer than that, but do you think we can come back from that? Like, is there?
I really do, and I really think Western Fair is the place for it all to start. I mean, look at where that track is, and look at the community around it. The colleges, universities within 40 minutes of there. I think that'd be a great spot to start. Get the college, university kids. Like maybe some incentive. I don't know. It's not my forte, but you'd know better. But like, dollar hot beer, just get them out. Yeah. And Western Fair is such a great place to watch horse racing. The grandstand's right above the track. You're right there. It's like a grandstand, right above it. But I loved watching races there. And I think that would be a great place to start. And just try and bring people to the racetrack. I know Bill McClure was talking to me last week, and he was emphasizing we need to take care of the bettors. And that's true. But I think a little more attention needs to be paid to attendance. And if not, we might as well do it in a field over there with no grandstand and put a camera up. And it's not the same.
Well, that's the way it seems to be going a lot, as far as the focus has been on off-track handle to support it, right? Because it just seems to be more economically viable. Woodbine's really focused on bringing in wagering dollars from around the world, and it seems to make sense. But really, at the end of the day, if nobody's there watching it, it doesn't lend itself well to the future of the sport.
No, and I think the vast majority of our people gambling on our sport are aging. I think if we don't bring in a younger crowd and make it faster, more entertaining, then we're going to be in trouble. I mean, even you look at the PGA Tour, they're trying to speed things up. Everything's got to be faster. Well, everybody wants things faster now. And, and then we go out and we have 20 minutes, then you post-grade and a 6-minute drag, and it's like, who wants to come here with their family and watch this? It's boring,
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I take a lot of criticism for is that I feel like you need to make a great sport and a great product, and that will then be a great wagering product. So I look at the NFL, for example, and there's more money bet on the Super Bowl or any NFL game than there is any harness race, and it's because they focus on the product. So you turn on the game, they're talking about the players, the stories, they're giving you their personalities and what's going on, and then I think they mentioned this year they're not even gonna say the line this year and say, the point spread's 9.5. It doesn't even get mentioned on the air. Gamblers and people who want to bet figure out how to bet. When I watch an NFL game or I go to the Leafs game, I'm putting a bet on it, and because I'm interested in it and I want to dive in. So if you can get me interested in a race and following a horse, I mean, my favorite horse, last time I was really a fan of a horse, was Admiral's Express. And I would go to the track and I would bet Admiral's Express just because I wanted to bet this horse, and it was like, it just happened. And so I take a lot of criticism for that, because I do know it's important. The thing about running 3 races in a row, people are going to automatically say it'll kill the pools because people don't have time to get their bets in. The horseman could do it, right? You could warm up in batches and then come out and run 3 races. It could be done, but people are going to be reluctant as far as the logistics for the wagering.
I think at 10 minutes between, I think they could get their wagers in, and I think with the break, they could plan all that. And maybe put certain, different bets in because they're a trio. But that's one idea out of many that could be presented. But I really think the sport needs one person to take charge of this, and one person that gets one job. It's to make this more entertaining, and give them some freedom to go to Woodbine and say, I want to do this, I want to try this, and then I can go to Bill McClure and say, hey, why don't we try this, and he can say no. Well, give somebody the job. They don't have to. I'm not saying not ask, but they're taken a little more seriously. This is something we're going to do to help the product. Let's try it.
I think we're a bit fragmented, right? Because there's a lot of good people that really want to fix this problem in our industry. And the problem, I think, is that, you've got the USTA, you've got Standard Board of Canada, you've got WAG, you've got all these different groups that all they all really want the same thing. They want the sport to be successful, but yet, how do we get everybody on the same page? We can't even get the tracks together to get rid of post-time drag. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's...
And I think that, not all of them, but I think a lot of the tracks are a problem. I mean, Western Fair, they do a good job. They love racing. They take care of everybody. WAG, they have their way, and it's been successful for a long time. But I'll never understand Flamborough Downs closing. You can't even. Nobody wants to go there to watch races. You basically can't. My grandfather has a 3-year-old pacing filly and a gold there. He would have loved to have gone and seen her, but how? He's 90 years old. How's he going to go see a race? You can't go on the tarmac. I can walk him out to the tarmac, but he can't go inside. He can't get anything to eat, can't get anything to drink. How are you supposed to bring kids there? There's no washrooms. It's pretty. I thought that was very upsetting that they would take that approach. I know Grand River was stuck with the same problem, and Jamie Martin said, "Okay, well, we'll figure something out." They've now got that really nice tent there, wagering, drinks. They accommodated, and it didn't hurt the tarmac. They were able to go back and forth.
Yeah, I was there that summer for that race. The tent was great.
They accommodated, and Flamborough could have done the same. They decided not to, and it's very unfortunate that Ontario Racing, COSA, and all those let it happen. I think a lot more could have been done, a lot more, and I think everybody just kind of took a back seat and said, they might have said they're going to do something, but nothing was done. It's the same now, and it'll be the same 5 years from now.
The distinction for me, I guess, is that Flamborough or any track might have great people in the racing, but the problem is they're not a racetrack, they're a casino. So you take what the owners of Pompano, I think they just sold it from, it was Isle of Capri and whoever their owners were, El Dorado Casinos or something, right? And it's not a secret that they don't want to race horses, they want to run a casino. And so really, to me, it doesn't have anything to do with kids or racing. It's just, hey, we're a casino company, we're publicly traded, our shareholders want us to return money, and the way for us to do that in our mind is to run a casino. And so Pompano is a great example. They don't even hide it. They applied for a highlight license. If they get a highlight license, they're no longer racing horses. And that doesn't take away, in my mind, from what Gabe Pruitt's doing at Pompano, and the horse group is doing a great job with their product, but they're working under something that doesn't want to race horses. So I mean, that's a battle in my mind that we've lost. When MGM is buying up racetracks and Harrah's is buying racetracks, what they want. I agree, and that's why we had it so good for so long, where the slots and horse racing went hand in hand, but they don't anymore. And but I think too we were also spoiled under that. I think it was unrealistic to think that was going to go on forever. I'm sure if everybody could go back and do that a little differently, we'd be in a different situation right now. But it was unrealistic what was going on before. And I mean, I think we have it okay right now, but I think we still have a lot to do to improve it going forward. I kind of take the stance that I don't think you can really fight them into, take the owner of Pompano and fight them into wanting to race horses. The only thing you could do is, if something changed and and the sport created dollars for them, they like money. Exactly. And if the sport is a benefit to them, they'll embrace it. Exactly. And they'll get behind it. You could see MGM getting behind harness racing if it became a big product for them.
Well, or even, I would say, break even, at the very best. But I agree. And I mean, but there are big pools 10, 15 years ago. I think there are ways to bring that back. And like I say, but we need one person. We need a very smart, ambitious person to think outside of the box and revamp things. And I think the people within the industry need to be willing to change to make it successful. I mean, we're way too stuck in our ways and afraid of change. And like me personally, I hate this 1.5 mile race or 1.3 race. I hate it. It's the most annoying race to be in, you know. And like last night, I had a favorite. Horses were parked and out, and like I ended up out for 3 turns. I was the favorite, and I'm like, this is fun. You know,
what is it about it that makes it so hard? Is it where you have to leave from?
It's 11 horses. We're going slower, so people want to move, and you can't be on the outside, I think. But so I had the favorite. I think I finished 8th. You know, but I can also look at that and say they're betting it. Yeah. You know, well, I'm not going to protest it. I'm not going to go and say I hate that race. Get rid of it. Well, you know, good. We're attempting something to change it. Even if it fails, we've tried something. Yeah. And thought outside of the box, you know. But I think we need to get more aggressive, you know. Yeah. But
I used to love when they did that extreme racing at Georgian, and they had everything from, I think they had an 1/8 of a mile dash up to like 2 and something miles.
And going the wrong way of the track and stuff like that.
Yeah, horses would pull up because they didn't know what they were doing and going that way. And
But that was one night, and I think it was always successful.
I remember I loved betting it. I hit a superfecta that one night. It came 18, 16, 4, 2. Yeah. And it was like the coolest thing to hit a 20-cent super in an 18 horse field.
Yeah, oh for sure. And I think that was I think it was always successful every time they had it. But they don't have it anymore, obviously. But Georgian Downs is another place that the location's so good. I think people should be racing there, you know.
Well, the thing that you talk about being able to pull crowds blows my mind. Beside our family farm, this place called Brooks Farms, and they do berry picking, hay rides, they have a little outdoor play set for kids. And on a weekend, they fill like 3 fields full of cars, and this place is just jammed. And I was thinking about it, it's like people love horses. Yeah. How do we end up with a product that nobody wants to come see, when if you just put a horse in a field, you could draw hundreds of people from the city to come and look at the horse? Yeah. That blows my mind.
It's baffling, you know, and I think certain horses draw a following. Admiral's Express definitely did. Some Beach Somewhere, none more than Camfella, but people want to enjoy it, you know. But you know how many people don't even know there's a racetrack at Flamborough Downs? You know, it's been there forever, you know, but they go into that casino and they don't even know there's a horse racetrack there, and that's our fault. You know, that's a lack of promotion. You know, we're getting our money from the slots. We weren't worried about all that, and it fizzled away.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an element to that. It gives you that complacency when we did have the slot money, right? We didn't need to solve problems.
We were spoiled, and I think now we need to regroup and.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to take a positive approach on it. I think it may end up having to come out of the ashes, but it's like there's this potential for the boxing to UFC thing to happen. When it's declining, something can come out of this, and it might not look like what the sport looks like now, but I'm pretty confident that somewhere in the world people are going to be racing horses and people are going to be watching it. It's like that's just not in question in my mind.
Exactly. And I think the UFC, it was right on the verge of ending, right? When Dana White took over, and now it's worth billions of dollars. And that was just one person that took over and changed everything. And I think obviously we wouldn't be to that scale, but I think if the right person was hired for that job and they had one purpose.
Who would that job be with? Would it be a track, or would it be a
I would say probably Standard Rate Canada, or even on a North American scale. But I think it would have to be a group effort, and every track would have to commit to it. Yeah. But I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, like you said, they need some power, right? Because if you bring somebody in and they're only able to make suggestions,
that won't work. Like that's what I mean. You need somebody who's got some freedom, and be able to at least try things.
Yeah. Well, that's where I kind of when I'm dreaming about this, it's kind of like, racetracks are closing down. If anybody ever had if I come across a few hundred extra million one day, I might just buy up a track, start a sport that's not harness racing. So it's not AGCO, it's not any of this. It's a new sport.
Yeah.
And
do things
here we go.
Yeah.
We're racing horses, but it's totally something created fresh.
Yeah, and I mean, broadcast it live on Facebook, live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Get Curtis McDonald in there with some really good camera angles.
There's something about Western Fair. Not on HPI, but on their website, they have the full HD now, and it's incredible. It's like you're so used to watching blurry things where you can't make out what number's which, and then they have this sharp, beautiful image.
And the cable line, when Curtis does the with his drone and stuff, And I think stuff like that, at the Battle of Waterloo we did it. I think stuff like that is just that's where we need to be going. That kind of, like, you ever try to watch Rideau Carlton? Like,
probably, yeah.
Like, you can't even tell what number they are.
Yeah, some of them it's frustrating. And then because a lot of people who are the fans of horse racing live out in the country, now we're not able to get it on TV the same way as we used to. We're supposed to stream it, but my internet's horrible, and so it's cutting in and out on me, and it just kills the product, right?
Yeah, it does.
I try to turn it on TV when my friends are over, and first of all, you got all those issues with quality and cutting in and out, and then for people who aren't involved in the sport, we are focused on what the pick 4 ticket is and what the bet is, and they're used to hearing stories and hearing why they should be attached to these athletes, so that I'm interested in watching the sport. So it just seems to be that they hear the pick 4 ticket and they're just not paying attention anymore, and they're gone.
Yeah,
no, I lost our opportunity.
I agree.
Well, some big challenges there then, for sure, but I hold out hope. I think that we're going to get it right, and it might be some pain in the process before we get driven to, because I think what you're suggesting there, it's going to take a level of desperation or something before somebody's willing to do that. Or maybe a fresh green field where somebody gets a track in a new state that can have that free reign to do what they want. Yeah,
well, that is possible, and that's an interesting thing you say there with the, making something that's, we're not technically horse racing, we're just going to do things differently. I like that idea, but I don't have 300 million to give you, though.
Well, I put a feeler out there in the Catch Driver little chat group, and I was like, we're going to do the real life pro series. That's our event for our top level Catch Driver guys, and we're doing the real Princely Raceway. You bring your own horse, and we're going to race. And it was like, I guarantee you, I could get 500 people to show up on our farm to watch racing, to spend money at a food truck, whatever, spend all this money. We wouldn't be able to bet on it because it would be illegal. People are probably going to bet with their friends. But I guarantee you'd draw a big crowd, you'd get a lot of attention, a lot of excitement, and it would be a great product if I'm just bringing my horse, just like back in the day. Now, I don't think that's the evolution of the sport, but it just goes to show you that people love horses and people want to race horses. So there's something fundamental that we have. We have a great sport beneath everything.
Oh, I agree. It's a good product, and I think like you said, there's a lot of entertainment value, and we just have to find a way to get it out there.
Well, that's the challenge for all of us. So I'll be racking my brain. I know I'm trying to do what I can, and I think if everybody kind of puts forth if we put our heads together, we probably can't solve all the problems right away. But if everybody puts their heads together and works together, we can probably solve a few of them. We can probably start taking some steps and
I
go
agree.
in the right direction.
I agree. And as for the desperation mode, I think we're getting pretty close to there. I mean, Flamborough, George, and Mohawk, they're not getting big crowds.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, if any. So I think we're getting to that point where nobody's coming to watch it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always going to be better some places. Like in the States, it's like one state will get money, and it's hot there for a while, and then it'll move. And Ontario is a little different, I guess, than the way we're set up.
Yeah, but I thought Tioga Downs was a really great setup with the resort and everything, and they actually had a pretty good crowd too.
I haven't been there for the races. I want to go. I've been down. My dad was racing there for a while, training. and I've been there many times, but never during the racing. So gotta get down there. So what's your we're into November, almost December now. What's the rest of the year look like? Stakes season's pretty much
that's it,
wrapped up, and there's a few small little stakes around. Yeah, Bottom Series was last night or something.
They got some closers, but that's about it. I wouldn't classify them as big stake races.
So when's your month off planned for?
Oh, probably right around February or March.
Nice.
March. By February, you're really sick of winter. March, it's starting to thaw. You can miss some mud, so we'll be in that area.
I can't stand the Canadian winter. It's not even the cold; it's the dark.
Yeah, I like the cold. I wish it would just get cold and stay cold. It's this hovering around 0 to 10 and mud, and, rain and mud. I can't deal with it.
I need a car wash after coming into your
especially living on a dirt road is not fun. But I don't mind the winter as long as it just freezes. But it doesn't seem to do that anymore.
I try to get out of the winter. So driving to Florida is easy, right? It's getting harder now that I got 2 kids, but you can drive down to Florida anytime for me, because I can work from anywhere from my computer, right? And then my wife's family's in Hong Kong, so we go every year, and I always plan all my trips for that January, February, March, because I just
get away from it.
Don't want to be here. Yeah.
No, I understand that.
So, any thoughts to where you're going yet?
Yeah, we're the family and me we're going to go to the Bahamas.
Nice.
And then me and my friend Mark McCormick, we go to Florida for a golf trip. 4 or 5 days, and then I'm supposed to go on a vacation with some other people. So hopefully it'll be a month worth.
So you'll be gone the whole month, just traveling around different places.
From start to finish, I hope it's a month. Yeah.
Nice. Well, you definitely deserve it after a long year. Injury coming back. Lowest lows to the highest highs of the sport. So
it was that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sitting down to chat with me.
Oh, my pleasure.
We'll hopefully have some better luck on the track together next year.
Well, we can't do much worse.